Okay, so we're practicing definite integrals. Okay, and the steps that we basically take are very similar to derivatives, but we're going to be using this equation, the integral from a to b of f of x dx equals the antiderivative of f when you plug in b minus the antiderivative of f when you plug in a. Okay, so that's, when you use definite integrals, that's what you're using. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is find the antiderivative. So what we can do is what I tell my students sometimes, take it apart. So f of x equals 9x squared minus 4 square root of x plus 2. And just find the antiderivative. So, before we do the antiderivative, we have to rewrite. So, get 9x squared minus 4, and we got to change the square root of x to x to the 1/2 power. Okay? So that's our first step. Rewrite. Now we can take the antiderivative. So you're going to get 9x squared, cubed over 3 minus 4x to the 3 halves over 3 halves plus 2x plus c. Okay, that's antiderivative. So now I'm going to simplify. So we get 3x cubed minus 8 over 3x to the 3 halves plus 2x plus c. Okay, so that's my antiderivative. Now I'm going to use this to evaluate my integral. So I'm going to come back over here. And now this is going to be equal to 3x cubed minus 8 over 3x to the 3 halves plus 2x. And we're going to evaluate it from 1 to 4. Okay, so this is capital F. Now we're going to plug in B, plug in A. So this is the first part. When we plug in, we're going to get 3 times 4 cubed minus 8 over 3 times 4 to the 3 halves power plus 2 times 4 minus the same thing when you plug in 1. So you're going to get 3 times 1 minus 8 over 3 times 1 plus 2 times 1. Okay? So, here we go. So we got 4 cubed. So 4 cubed is 64 times 3 is 192 minus, and now 4 to the 3 halves power. This is basically the same thing. I could rewrite it like this: 4 to the 1/2 cubed. Okay? And if I do that, the square root of 4 is 2, and then 2 cubed is 8. So this is 8 over 3 times 8 plus 8 minus, and then here I'm going to get 3 plus 2, which is 5, minus 8/3. And I'm going to leave it like that for right now. Okay, so now I'm going to deal with this. So 192 plus 8, so that's 200 minus, and 8 times 8 is 64 divided by 3. So that's 64 over 3 minus 5 plus 8/3. So I distributed in the negative. Okay, so 200 minus 5, that's 195, minus, and then 64/3, negative 64/3 plus 8 is going to be 56 over 3, which doesn't reduce, which is the same thing as, let's see, 195 times 3 minus 56. So that's 529 over 3, which doesn't reduce. So that's your answer, 529 over 3. Okay? So, again, when we're looking at this, when you look at all of this, okay? When you're looking at all of this, the only calculus, okay? The only calculus is basically going from here to here, the antiderivative. Even this step right here, that's just substitution. You're just plugging in 4 and plugging in 1. All the rest of this stuff, all of this is just algebra. Not even algebra. I mean, this is arithmetic. Some of it, the powers, I mean, I guess you could consider it algebra, but the rest is just fractions and adding and subtracting. Okay, so where my students tend to make mistakes is in all of that adding and subtracting.